Have you ever whispered a prayer so desperate, so raw, that you didn't even have the words to finish it, but something still shifted? That wasn't coincidence, that was power. Kathryn Kuhlman didn't just believe in miracles, she spoke them into motion. And today, I'm going to show you the exact moment it begins. The very second your mouth opens, heaven starts listening. What happens next will change everything. There's a moment, so small, so still, that most people miss it. It's the moment asterisk before asterisk the miracle, that quiet space where nothing has changed yet, but something deep inside of you begins to stir, not on the outside, not in what people can see, but in the atmosphere. In the unseen, it shifts when you speak, not from fear, not from desperation, but from faith. Because when you open your mouth with belief, when your voice carries more hope than hesitation, that's when the miraculous begins to move. There is power in your voice, not because of how loud it is, but because of what it carries. You see, heaven doesn't respond to volume, it responds to authority. And authority comes when your heart and your words are in full agreement. You can't pray for breakthrough while speaking defeat. You can't ask for healing while entertaining doubt. The moment your words and your faith align, something supernatural begins to happen. Right there, right in that moment. It doesn't matter how broken you feel. It doesn't matter how impossible the situation looks. That prayer, the one that rises from the deepest part of your soul, is what creates the shift. The shift doesn't come when you have all the answers. It comes when you speak in spite of the fear, when you pray in the middle of the pain, when you declare what hasn't yet appeared. That's when the atmosphere around you starts to tremble. That's when things begin to rearrange. So many people wait for the feeling. They wait to feel strong enough. They wait for signs. But miracles aren't waiting for you to feel ready. They're waiting for your spirit to wake up. They're waiting for you to speak something different than what you see. That's where the power is. That's where miracles begin. Not in perfection, but in permission. The moment you give your faith permission to rise above your fear, the atmosphere obeys. You may not see the change right away. You may speak the prayer and everything around you looks the same. But something did happen. Something did move, because heaven listens to faith, and faith doesn't need a stage. It only needs a whisper. That's what Kathryn understood. It wasn't about being impressive. It was about being in tune. It wasn't about repeating long phrases. It was about releasing the kind of faith that causes heaven to lean in. The prayer that shifts everything isn't always long. It isn't always eloquent. Sometimes it's just, I believe. Sometimes it's, I trust you even now. And in that whisper, if it's filled with surrender, with fire, with expectation, the miracle begins. Because miracles don't start in the physical. They begin in the spirit. Before they reach your hands, they move through your words. There are people who are walking around waiting for a breakthrough, but speaking as if nothing will ever change. And then they wonder why the doors stay closed. You've got to speak differently, not because your words are magic, but because they carry the weight of your belief. The atmosphere doesn't respond to hopeless prayers. It responds to the kind of prayer that comes from a place of I don't see it, but I know it's on the way. That's when the chains start to loosen. That's when the delays start to break. That's when healing starts to rise from places where pain once ruled. Because you opened your mouth and said something that fear tried to silence. Because you chose faith when everything in you wanted to give up. You spoke not what your eyes could see, but what your spirit knew. And that is where it all begins. You don't have to wait for someone to hand you a microphone. You don't have to wait until the crowd believes with you. Miracles don't need permission from the world. They only need agreement from your soul. When your words match your belief, even in a whisper. You command change, you invite the supernatural, you signal that you're ready. So right now, in this very moment, you don't have to wait. You don't have to have it all together. You don't need perfect conditions. All you need is the courage to speak faith, even when your circumstances are screaming doubt. Speak what you know is possible. Speak what you believe is coming, and watch the atmosphere shift. Because the miracle doesn't begin when it arrives. It begins the moment you believe enough to say it out loud. You ever stop to think about how powerful your words really are? Not the ones you say when life is going well, not the ones that are easy to speak when everything looks perfect, but the ones you say when everything's falling apart, when you feel tired, forgotten, overlooked. When your heart is heavy, your hands are empty, and all you've got left is a whisper of hope. That's when it matters most. That's where breakthrough begins, because your words aren't just sound. They are seed. And the moment you speak them in faith, something begins to grow. It's easy to pray small, quiet prayers when life is loud with disappointment. It's easy to stay silent when doubt starts talking. But miracles don't wait for the perfect setting. They don't need music playing softly in the background. They respond to something deeper, belief, and belief is expressed through what you say, even when your heart is trembling, especially when your heart is trembling. That's the kind of faith that moves things. So many people are praying with their lips while doubting with their thoughts. They say the right words, but inside, they don't really expect anything to change. And that disconnect, that gap between your prayer and your belief, that's where the delay lives. That's where the frustration grows. But the moment your words and your faith lock in together, even if it's just for a moment, that's when heaven begins to move. Think about it. Every time you speak life instead of fear, you're building something. Every time you choose hope instead of despair, you're planting a future. Your words are not light, they're not casual. They have weight, they have direction, and they have power. You're either building walls with them, or you're tearing down the ones that have been holding you back. That's why you've got to stop speaking from your feelings and start speaking from your future. Stop echoing what you see and start declaring what you believe. If you keep saying, "I'll never get out of this," then you're building your own prison. If you keep saying, "Nothing ever changes for me," then you're laying bricks on a path that leads nowhere. But when you open your mouth and say, "I don't see it yet, but I believe something's shifting," that's when the shift begins, right there, in the unseen. You don't need perfect words. You don't need a script. You just need to say something real, something rooted in truth. "I believe. It's already turning. I'm not giving up. I'm getting stronger." Those words may sound simple, but when they're backed by real belief, they carry supernatural weight. That's when you stop hoping for a miracle and start walking like it's already on the way. Because here's the thing most people don't understand. Faith doesn't wait for evidence, it creates it. Faith doesn't wait for the door to open. It walks like the door already belongs to you, and when your words begin to echo that kind of belief, everything starts responding, not always immediately, not always visibly, but something begins to align. You shift something in the atmosphere. Kathryn knew that. She didn't speak to impress, she spoke to impact. She didn't speak words to fill space. She spoke them to release power. She understood that one declaration, made with unwavering belief, could shake the very room. Could call healing out of hidden places, could break years of bondage in seconds. That kind of authority doesn't come from performance. It comes from conviction, and you have that same power right now. Not when you feel ready, not when it all makes sense. Right now, speak with boldness, declare your healing, declare your breakthrough. Speak to the future like it already exists, because your words are not just sound, they are signals. They tell the atmosphere where to move. They tell your spirit where to stand. They tell your future that you're not waiting anymore, you're preparing. The moment your mouth lines up with your belief, miracles are no longer something you hope for. They become something you expect. And that shift, that simple, powerful, unseen shift, that's where it all begins. So speak with purpose, speak with fire, speak as if everything depends on it, because sometimes it does. You want to see change, real, undeniable, supernatural change, then you've got to understand one thing. The miracle doesn't come when you beg. It doesn't come when you cry the loudest. It comes when you expect. And expectation isn't silent. It speaks, it prepares, it makes room before anything even shows up. Most people pray for something but live like it's never going to happen. That's why nothing shifts, because miracles don't respond to confusion. They respond to clarity. When you expect something, you move differently, you talk differently, you wake up differently, you stop waiting for signs and you start becoming the sign. You don't walk around asking if it'll happen. You walk around acting like it's already done. That's what expectation does. It draws the future into your present. It pulls the unseen into the now. It places a demand on the atmosphere, saying, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know it's coming. Most people miss their miracle because they're focused on what's missing instead of what's coming. They stare so hard at the lack that they can't see the door that's opening right behind it. They pray for rain and then complain about the cloud. They ask for healing but keep rehearsing the symptoms. That's not expectation. That's hesitation, and hesitation delays the very thing you're asking for. Expectation requires a shift inside you. It demands that you no longer speak from your feelings but from your future, that you no longer make decisions based on fear but on vision. Kathryn knew this. She didn't walk into rooms hoping something would happen. She walked in knowing something had to happen, because she had already aligned her thoughts, her words, and her spirit. That's why miracles flowed through her. It wasn't magic, it was expectation. There's something powerful about a person who expects good to find them, even when life hasn't been good. There's something unstoppable about a woman who gets up every day and speaks life over a future she hasn't seen yet. That kind of belief, it's not normal, it's not common, but it's exactly what shifts the impossible. When you carry expectation, your words carry weight. You stop speaking like a victim and start declaring like a warrior. You walk into every room with the mindset that something good can happen at any moment. You stop counting what you've lost and start preparing for what you're about to receive. You live like the delay is just the setup. And that mindset, that level of faith, is the open door to breakthrough, because heaven doesn't move just because you're in pain. It moves when you're in position, and what positions you? Expectation. You don't need to see the full picture to prepare the space. Sometimes the preparation is the proof of your faith. Set the table, get ready, speak as if the answer is already in motion. That kind of boldness pulls power from places you can't see. It causes people to look at you and wonder how you keep standing, how you keep believing, but you know you're not walking on sight. You're walking on expectation. So don't shrink when it gets quiet. Don't lose heart when it takes longer than you thought. Keep your voice steady. Keep your confession firm. Let every word that comes out of your mouth match the miracle you're expecting. Don't let doubt shape your sentences. Speak with purpose. Speak with fire, because the miracle isn't waiting for perfection. It's waiting for your expectation to rise. When your expectation becomes louder than your fear, stronger than your circumstances and deeper than your pain. That's when things start to break open. That's when what you've been praying for begins to find you. Because you're no longer asking like a beggar. You're receiving like it's already yours. And that's the moment everything begins to change.